Today we're connecting on a champion's journey from broken home, troubled youth to world champion. Welcome to FedEx Talks, where we're bringing you the greatest minds in nutrition, fitness, and mindset to support you in living your best life. And today's talk is about mindset. It's about community, and it's about becoming your champion, the inner champion in every single one of us. And we're connecting with Frank Shamrock, one of UFC's most notable fighters of all time, the first to win the UFC Middleweight Championship and going 4 times undefeated and breaking records along the way. Without further ado, I want to welcome my friend Frank Shamrock to FedEx Talks.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm proud to be here. Some of you know my story, but I grew up as a troubled youth and an abused child, and eventually I turned to crime to get out of my household and found little success, but I did find a way out of my household and into a different community. And it was starting in those communities that I started learning about, my own care and religion and social efforts and like all the things that have now become who I am. But one of those things was martial arts. And, the martial arts really helped guide me and, create that fabric of the culture that I was kind of missing without parents and without guidance. And it was really inside that community that I really began to develop, find my passion, achieve my goals of becoming a champion, a leader, and a sportsman, and all those other, childhood goals that I kind of stood behind. But it was really that community and that world that kind of got me on my feet. And then once they were behind me and once we were on the same mission, then, accomplishing championships and, putting the sport on network television and just all the other stuff that I was able to do for mixed martial arts was really, a benefit and a support from that community, because I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just fighting and trying to be successful and trying to provide for my family and trying to be a good, human being. But that culture really helped guide me to the next level.
Yeah, and what's amazing, man, is that you are really a pioneer in the sport. Really put it on a platform here in America for sure. And so it's an inspiring story, and I love that you mentioned the higher beliefs that guided you through the process in conjunction with martial arts. I love that you mentioned that. So and we haven't had that conversation here, and I know your talk may have not been around that today per se, but I believe that really causes an alignment.
Yeah, I think so too. And for me, I was exposed to a multitude of religions. As a youth, all those group homes and foster homes are usually run by religious families who are trying to, give back and serve and help in their own way. So, as a young man, starting from 11 to 17, I was in homes where there was different religions. And so I would just pick up the book and learn and I'd jump into the community and try to, find out the information. And, what I took from it and what I learned after 5 or 6 different religions is it's really the same guiding culture. It's really the same structure. It's really the same, fabric that helps you become a better person, that helps you align with a community or a society or a country. And it was as a young man, I was like, wow, all of these pieces have so much importance, because I could tell what was important to each group. And then when I looked at it from afar, all of the base importance and beliefs were all the same. Care for people, be kind, be a good human being, love people, serve people. Like all the core elements are always the same. So from all religion, I took those core elements. And to me, love is God.
It's an interesting conversation we're having, and I love it. So tell me about, there are folks here, we've had, Olympic athletes on this show, to Super Bowl athletes, and of course a world champion like yourself. I want to hear a little about that. There are people that are looking to just get fit. And when I say get fit, they're thinking it's a physical or nutrition thing they have to do. And of course, both of those are really important, to have a fit mind and a fit body and live a healthy, fit life. But I want to hear from a champion. Like, what does it take? What does it take to get to living really a miracle life that you've created for yourself? What created that shift for you? And we have about 4.5 minutes left, and I want to kind of tune into that.
Sure. For me, it was, as I began the martial arts journey, I realized the things that I needed. I needed to learn to calm my mind. I needed to learn to focus. I needed to develop community. I needed to develop my personal self, because I needed more of me to become successful. And it was each piece was a mind, body, spirit experience. And that's where the martial arts really became, my culture. That's a community that each and every day they're trying to get a little bit better in mind, body, and spirit. And I've been involved in a lot of communities, but this was the only one that was like, great, great, great. Mind, body, and spirit every day. And that's how you become successful.
Got it, love it. So what's your tip for, something that our audience can take away today, whether they're looking to, become their best self in a particular discipline and become a world champion, or someone that's looking to really take on their fitness, their journey to the next level and having their best life? What are some tips they could give them that they could incorporate in their lives like right away?
Well, the first thing I would say is take care of your mind. Your mind is the master computer that runs the machine, that runs the world, that creates your existence. So if you're putting bad stuff in your mind, if you're not protecting it, encouraging it, growing it, cultivating it, then you're going to be stagnant, because that's your whole perception of everything that's going on. So I always say, start with the mind first. Your mind's a computer, fill it with good information so your machine knows what to do. And then the second thing is break a sweat every single day. Every single day of your life, if you are not trying to exercise, energize, and move your body to the point of sweating, you're just not going to last that long. It doesn't work that way. In the past, we had to get out and do it to survive, and now we have to do it again because we're living these sedentary, non-moving lifestyles.
So I'm hearing hone in on your mind, fuel your mind, and secondly is to break a sweat. So, and I'm sure there are folks, I would be one of them, by the way, if I was sitting on the side saying, well, how do I do that? How do I start with like the mind? And I think it's easy for some of us that have gotten to a point where we've created behavioral patterns, which is like part of it is fueling our mind. And you and I are in networks of people that actually are all about that. But for someone sitting at home, it's like maybe sitting in a space of like depression or sad or has anxiety, can't get moving, and is in the space of like self beat up or whatever that may be for them. What's your tip for them? Because for you, it was like getting at edge to become top performer. For someone sitting in the couch right now, maybe just getting back into life.
Sure. But the hardest part of that is that person's spirit is not fired up. That person's spirit is lowered, or they'd be off that couch doing things that embolden their spirit and their community and everybody else. And so the thing that worked for me is I started sharing my journey. Guys, I'm going to become a world champion. These are my beliefs. This is what I'm trying to do. And what that did was that allowed people to join me, and it took the fear out of my journey because I had people alongside of me. And when you're sharing that journey, when you're sharing those fears, when you're sharing those wins and those losses, that's the development of the spirit. And we go back to love. They asked me on stage maybe a month ago, like, how do you know that there's a God in existence? And I said, let me tell you why. I'm a trained killer. I spent 16 years trying to kill and learning to kill other human beings. But all I want to do is share love now. And if that's God working, then there's something going on here in my life. I'm a trained killer. But I just want to help people, and I just want them to be better in their lives. That's God. I have no other explanation for that.
Yeah, awesome, Frank. Now, I know some of our audience is going to want to reach out, and I know you're up to amazing philanthropy work. What's the best way they could reach out to you and support you in what you're up to or your causes that you're up to?
For sure, yeah. The easiest way to reach me is I am at Frank Shamrock everywhere on social media. And if you want to get involved in our charity, that's shamrockway.org. And then the last thing is, and I put this out there for everybody, I try to help people. It's one of my core missions now. So if you need some help and I have the connection, I'll be happy to give it to you. I send out this email address, askfrank@frankshamrock.com. If you have an ask, I will try to fill it. If I cannot, I will connect you with somebody who I believe can.
Amazing, Frank. An honor to have you here on FedEx Talks. Appreciate you. You're an amazing human being and a champion in life. I love you, my friend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man.
I also want to thank you, our audience, for tuning in on this episode of FedEx Talks. Here's a great opportunity to impact someone's life. If this is beneficial to you or you think of someone that it could benefit, be sure to forward this episode so that they can have access to freedom and living their best life. And if you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe right here so that you can stay tuned in to the latest information on nutrition, fitness, and mindset to live your best life. Thanks for joining in. We'll see you next time.